Girl with the Grill, and today we are doing Santa Maria style tri-tip and a pork loin roast, which I'll tell you all about why I'm doing this in a minute. Let's get started. We're doing it on the Kamado Joe today, the Kamado Joe 3. Let's get started. I'll show you what I do with Santa Maria tri-tip. Okay, first thing we're going to talk about is the Santa Maria style tri-tip. Authentically, you're going to find the closer you get to Northern California, the better the tri-tip, because that's where it originated. That's where they cook the most. It's very abundant. And what they do in California that I can't find anywhere else is that they leave the fat cap on the tri-tip. Fat is flavor. So I trim off just a little bit that I believe that won't render, because it's a very short cook. It's less than 90 minutes. And this is how much I took off of the fat cap. And I'm gonna leave this on because fat is flavor. And the other side I haven't touched. It's a beautiful marbling throughout the tri-tip. Now, since I've grown up in California, I've eaten a lot of tri-tip. We've grilled a lot of tri-tip, and my deal is what I've discovered is very, very simple seasoning. We're gonna bind it with a little olive oil. We're gonna use salt. I mean, the traditional is salt, pepper, garlic, that's it. Now I'm using Cattleman's grill today for tri-tip, and red bell pepper in here. It's kind of a little coarse. I really like it. I'm gonna try it today on this tri-tip, but other than that, it's a very beautiful cut of meat, and it is something that you're going to love, because we're going to cook this today medium rare, so we're going to pull it off at 130, 135 at the most, and we're going to let it rest for about a half an hour before we slice into it, and you will see a very beautiful. Okay, I just want to mention that once we remove this and the tri-tip has set, we're going to wrap it and let it set. When we do slice it, we're going to slice it, the grain is flowing this way. We're going to start at the tip here, and we're going to slice it very, very thin against the grain, across the grain, okay? And you will find that if you do it that way, the slices are going to be so tender and juicy. And now I'm just using a binder of olive oil. The simpler, the better. This meat is the star of the show. It is fabulous tasting. It's a melt in your mouth, very, very tender cut of meat. One of my favorites to cook. I can come home from work and cook this in an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a half tops. Pull it, let it rest, and serve it for dinner. So it's a super fast cook comparably to a brisket. Obviously, or any of the bigger cuts of meat. And I'm just gonna let that sit and tack up, and then we'll season the other side, and then we're gonna get this on the grill. Okay, while my tri-tip is tacking up at the seasoning, I'm going to catch all these juices. I'm going to prepare my pork roast. As long as we're firing up the Kamado Joe, I might as well cook as much as I can. I like to cook in batches anyway, but this specifically is going to be used in my green chili stew. So we're gonna cook this, and we're gonna wrap it in foil, and we're gonna let it set up overnight, and tomorrow we will cube it, and this will go into my stew. And I love smoked pork. This is a sirloin, and I'm making a mess. A sirloin roast that is amazing in my green chili stew. So I'm just going to pat this as dry as possible with paper towel. And it's a really, really nice roast. I really don't have to do hardly anything to this. I don't really have to trim it up. It's, you know, I may take a couple of things off, but other than that, it's a very, very lean piece of pork, and it enhances the flavor of my stew and just makes it so New Mexican. So what I'm going to do is do the binder with this one, olive oil as well. And what I really like, since it's going into stew, I like the Salt Lick dry rub. It is a very coarse, what it has in it is a blend of black pepper, cayenne, and a garlic and a little salt and pepper. And it just makes a great dry rub, because since this is going into my green chili stew, I really don't need a real heavy seasoning. And the Salt Lick just provides a very good flavor that just complements my stew. So we're gonna let that one tack up, and we're gonna put these both on the Kamado Joe 3. Okay, now I've seasoned the other side of the tri-tip, and I'm seasoning the other side of my pork sirloin for my stew. These are ready for the grill. The grill is prepped and ready for me. And I just want to reiterate that the Salt Lick that I'm using is a go-to seasoning that I've used for years and years. This is out of a restaurant out of Austin, Texas, and you can get it online. And I think you would really like it. They've got several different rubs. This is the dry rub. And the garlic rub is really, really good too. I use a lot of that on my chicken as well. And this one is the Cattleman's Grill 4 tri-tip. Now, I know you're thinking that I left too much fat on this, but I want to reiterate that fat is flavor, okay? It will season and render to my meat, and it's going to be beautiful. Now, what I said before is, depending on the part of country you are in, if you buy these at the grocery store, they will have it trimmed for you, and they take off, in my opinion, they take off too much fat. They kind of butcher it. Now, the closer you get to Santa Maria, California, you're going to find a tri-tip that's got the fat cap on it, and you can do your thing. You can take off as much as you want or as little as you want, but I recommend that you leave it on. And okay guys, our grill is ready. That beautiful smoke. Today I'm using the lump charcoal and the applewood chunks, which provides an amazing smoky flavor. I love applewood. Traditional tri-tip is fired over an open flame with oak, and today I'm using applewood, so it's really a preference, and if you can get the wood or not. Here it's very abundant for the applewood, so I'm using applewood. So what I'm looking for today is a really nice smoke and a nice bark on my meat, on my tri-tip. And we are looking for a temperature of 130 to 135. We're going to pull it. You'll have carryover temperature, but I'm looking for a good medium rare, pink in the middle, not too rare, because I don't like it when it's too rare. So we're looking for medium rare. And then on my pork, I'm looking for a temperature of about 145, 150, because we're gonna cook this, we're gonna cube it and put it in my green chili stew, so it will continue to cook in the stew once we add it tomorrow. So we're gonna wrap them when they're done. This is gonna sit for about a half an hour before we slice against the grain. And on the pork, we're gonna wrap it and cool it off completely. We're gonna cube it and put it into my stew. So super exciting. All right, we're just gonna let this go, and we'll check it in about 30-40 minutes. Okay guys, these are ready. The tri-tip is coming in at 144. Perfect. So we're gonna wrap that puppy up and let it rest. And my pork, 137. And remember, I am going to wrap this up and put this in the refrigerator overnight, and we are going to cube it tomorrow and put it in my green chili stew. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Okay, our tri-tip has been resting for about 30 minutes, and I just want you to see all this juice that it accumulated. This is juice that we don't want to get rid of. Okay, we're going to serve that on our slices tonight. But this was done on the Kamado Joe Classic 3 at 275 degrees. And it's been resting. This took about 90 minutes for the full cook, and we brought it up to temperature at 135. Okay, so 125 is rare, 135 is medium rare, and I prefer it to be medium, pink in the middle. And so I'm going to slice into, oh my God, it's so tender. This is my bite right here. Okay, you're gonna have a little more done. Look at the juice. It is pink, but this is the end. So it's gonna be a little more done than the middle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slice it. A couple of slices for you to see that it is perfectly done, perfectly juicy. It's the way a tri-tip should be. It's the way I like my tri-tip. So take a look at that with the smoke ring and the pink in the middle. And I'm gonna slice one more because I don't wanna slice the whole roast, but it is perfect. The more you slice, the pinker it gets. But this is how I like my tri-tip. It is perfect. So I'm just gonna taste it. Gosh, it's amazing. Oh my God. So tender and juicy. Oh my God, it's so good. This melts in your mouth. And the Kamado Joe did an amazing job. Stellar performance on that grill. Cattleman's grill, a tri-tip seasoning. It is just a perfect complement to the steak. You don't need a lot because that's the star of your show, right? So you want something that you can taste the meat. The amazing thing about tri-tip is that it's typically fired over an open flame with oak. We did it on the Kamado Joe on a smoker with lump charcoal and applewood, and it just came out fabulous. And this is something that you could serve your guests. They would be very impressed with you. But I've been cooking tri-tips. I've cooked hundreds of tri-tips, and they always come out perfect on the Kamado. So this is Sandy Girl with the Grill. I'm going to enjoy my dinner. I appreciate you joining me. If you like this video, hit subscribe, and I'm going to eat my dinner now and have an amazing night. I'll catch you later.